Hey yo, what is good? What is going on, everyone, everywhere? We are back with another video right quick. Water healing, okay? I'm gonna go over all the different healing loadouts. It'll depend on what kind of healer you were trying to be. My personal recommendations, what has worked for me, what hasn't, give you a little tip, trick, guide, the whole shebang, spill it all out, alright? So let's go ahead and get into this. Start off with tactical mods, and let's go from there, alright? Tactical mods are pretty simple. Depending on what you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to be a battle healer, a hybrid healer, whatever you want to call it, you definitely want to go with blast adapter and your weapon socket. If you're just trying to be, a normal healer, a pure healer, then you're gonna want to go ahead and get this replenishing adapter. Okay, you want to get power back instead of doing restorative adapter. Because restorative adapter does heal your group, okay, but the replenishing adapter gives you enough power back to hit a move, one of your healer ability moves, which is going to heal more. No matter what way you break it down, it's going to heal more than a restorative adapter, okay, just by you getting that power back. So that's the better way to go. Absorption adapter, it's really not going to help. I mean, it can, I guess, if you're very concerned or you want a turtle for elite or something like that. But you're better off with the replenishing adapter if you're just trying to be healing. Now, if you're trying to do a battle healer, blast adapter, okay? So, for our head socket, it is going to basically... I know I just had head. Oh, I think it's where it's supposed to be right here. But normally we would have our Supercharge, and I like to use Pheromone Bloom if I'm just going a jack of all trades kind of thing, which I'll explain what that is, okay, in a second. If you're trying to go more pure healing, then you can definitely use Flood of Power, which would be great, or Trinket Pool. Great. Okay, now these are really good supercharges, really effective, but for just you're trying to get a little EOG spam, go ahead and throw in that Pheromone Bloom. It costs less. It's only 2,500 instead of the 5,000 and the 10,000 respectively. Okay, and just helps with EOG pushing out there more and more and more. Okay, so most times I like to run Pheromone Bloom, because depending on what you are trying to do, you don't have to have a Scrap of the Soul Cloak, okay? Or even a Quizlet. Alright, now, for the next piece, I have, a lot of this stuff is the battle healer stuff, so excuse me on that. For the next piece, since it's OP one and I do damage as well, I just got done with the Might video. Might based DPS. Go ahead, check it out. It's up on the channel right now. But you will go ahead have your focus restoration, okay? Your restoration one, then increase your restoration. Alright. Now for the back, you pretty much, everyone at this point, or let me not say everyone, most people at this point know that you want to go ahead and get your shield. If you're a healer, you run your shield, okay? No matter which way you pretty much break it down, you're gonna have to have a shield. Especially how content is now. There's so much damage it takes, and there's so much random damage at times. Just have your shield, okay? Now I do get that Solace of the Sea. It's a very good heal. Getting that back 10% faster can be a good and valid point. Mending Whip, getting that back faster, can also be another good point. But more times than not, accelerated bubbles can be the way to go. So go ahead, definitely get that in your back socket, okay? Now for your chest socket, I like to use, let me just show you. I like to go ahead and use power efficiency just because you use less power, okay? So it allows you to spam a little bit more. You shouldn't be spamming when you're healing, but just in case you have to, or seemingly have to, when you're going through certain, content instances, mechanics, whatever the case may be, it's a little bit more forgiving there. You're able to, you know, hit out an additional power, 2, 3, whatever the case may be, especially over the span of the content. It's gonna definitely come in handy. Oh, we'll just keep that in there. All right, on to the next one now. Excuse me, y'all, that's my dog in the back. He oversleeping. Now for our legs, we're going to have restorative riptide. Now we actually do use riptide, so this can help us heal ourselves, not our group members, ourselves for a small amount. It does not scale properly to the latest content, so it does not give that much healing, but it definitely can help. Now for our hands, we are going to use restorative shielding. Just gives us that little extra bit of health. Sometimes, depending on the power, you can use some power channeling, but most times not required. Restorative shielding works wonders, okay? So, go ahead and use restorative shielding. And then for our feet, Tumbling Master. This is pretty much every healer's bread and butter. And if you don't know what Tumbling Master allows you to do, I'm not in move mode as you see, so it's not moving mode specific at all. It basically allows you to constantly constantly roll, okay? And you're not going to be interrupted as you were previously able to be if you didn't have the Tumbling Master on. All right, because normally whenever you roll, you don't roll that long. It's pretty much like that, maybe a little bit shorter. But with Tumbling Master, you're able to do a 3 thing, if you will. And that last little bit, okay, the extra 2 moves actually do damage, okay? So it just helps you out there as well. Don't mind the base, I haven't fully decorated like that. Alright, and then for the different ways of healing will affect your artifacts. So let me go ahead and break that down for y'all. There's mainly, I would say, 3 to 4 main ways of healing when it comes to water. You have your one healing, which is using High Tide. If you don't know what that is this ability right here. And as it says, it grants High Tide, allowing certain water abilities to gain additional effects. Prime example, the Blessing of the Deeps, it turns it, instead of a burst heal, it just heals them. It does burst and heal over time. Pretty nice. For this shield right here, it allows to get a heal whenever the shield ends. So that's always good. Trying to look for different ones. A lot of the damage ones have like damage over time. For more healing ones, it just increases this healing for the priority heal. Okay. I'm trying to find the other ones. Oh, there it goes. For your group heal, it makes it be a critical heal. And even in the Supercharge, if you like to use Trinket Pool, so when Trinket Pools was 10,000 per Supercharge costs, Supercharge, as you see when you use High Tide before this, it actually grants a bubble, which is a good shield. It's your normal healer shield, spreads to yourself and 3 other people, but it gives a bubble to everyone. So it's basically like how the old healer Supercharge used to be. All right, give you a shield and healing over time. All right, similar to Electric too. Electric does that currently. So you have High Tide, that is one version. You have an EOG or iGemini spam. That is 2. iGemini is a trinket, well not trinket, artifact, excuse me on that, y'all. Okay, it's artifact right here. Most people want to get it to 160, but definitely if you get it to 200, it helps you out with that 5% additional dominance, health, and restoration if you're a healer. And if you're a DPS, it gives you plus 5% of the might, precision, invite. Okay, it's definitely good for that. But as you see, it pretty much heals you a little bit and heals your Supercharge bar, not only for yourself, but any one of your allies that stands in it as well. Okay. And then similar to how on the damage side, after the circle pretty much goes away, after so long, it does a big burst damage to anything around it. Similar with health. Any health that you restore to your allies or even NPCs within the circle, as soon as the circle goes away, it is then basically re-healed to your allies once again. So it helps you out there. It's like an additional built-in heal. Okay, so there.
At Metro by T-Mobile.
Oh, excuse me, y'all. Apologies on that. I have the device right here. Accidentally touched some. But that is a second way to heal. Another way to heal is just pure utter healing. Most pure healers will go ahead and use the purple healing ray, Page of Destiny. Okay, some will even use the Orb of Orion. Some will use the transformation card or the strategist card as well. Okay, those are generally the ones that people go with or go towards when going pure healing, just because strategist card, if you don't know what it does, pretty much gives you a heal over time whenever you do like a crit. Okay, transformation card just allows you to crit more and crit higher for your heals. In terms of healer based damage, it's a whole different story. It's pretty similar, but I'm just focusing on the healer based side of these artifacts. Purple healing ray, it pretty much turns your priority heal into a priority heal plus a shield occasionally, and your group heal into your normal group heal plus a heal over time, or a hot, similar how you have a dot for damage occasionally. Okay, and gives you some power back if you get it high enough. And Page of Destiny, as you see, pretty much just make sure group heal more targets, and have a biocap mechanic similar to electricity, which they fall under 40%, their health shoots back up. Okay, those are generally the ones that go pure healing. And then you have battle healers. Now battle healers are pretty much you're trying to be a heal and a DPS at the same time. Depending on how you feel about stuff, you will prioritize one or the other depending on if it comes down to it. But generally speaking, battle healers try to balance out healing and damage in their loadout build and rotations. Because of water and water powers and abilities, if you're battle healing, you're going to go precision. Your best bet in going precision is same as precision DPS. Dual wield if you are trying to go more single target focused with some AoE. When you do the hold range and then hold range again, instead of the tap range to hold range. Instead of the flurry shot, you do the I think it's like explosion shot, something like that. Or if you're trying to just go more AoE and a lot quicker, be able to like just constantly clip. It's very quick, very effective move. Just go ahead and go brawling. Those are pretty much your two best bets, and the two that I would recommend heavier. Okay, emphasize heavier on. You can definitely use some like hand blasters or dual pistols and stuff like that as well. If you're trying to just more go for like power generation or supercharge generation, definitely go more hand blasters for supercharge generation. For power generation though, dual pistols is good too. If you're not trying to get into more weapon mastery, that is. Now more weapon mastery, brawling, dual wield are your two weapons of choice to pretty much pick between. I like brawling just because it's quick and you're not stuck in the one animation of the dual wield flurry shot. Sometimes that can get you in trouble a lot. Okay, it can just wipe your group depending on the mechanics that you're facing, whatever the case may be. So definitely be careful with that. All right, so for loadouts, and then you have a jack of all trades, which is the approach I like to take. Now for the loadouts for these things, right here, as you see, I have my priority heal, Soothing Mist, Mending Wave, Souls of the Sea, Riptide, Bubble, and Pheromone Bloom. This is my jack of all traits, if you will, okay? And you'll see why I call it jack of all traits. I'll get into how I spec and everything as well. Okay, for each of these different builds. But for the jack of all traits that I personally like to run, you pretty much have all your healing, capacities that you use. You got your priority, you got your group heal, you got your Souls of the Sea, which is a big area effect and also heals NPCs. You have your Riptide to reset your Souls of the Sea or your Bubble, depending on what situation calls for. A lot of times they're running dual Souls of the Sea here, dual circles, because even out here, excuse my dog, y'all, in the background. But the dual circles has 2 heal over time dots, and they are incredible. They heal a lot. You pretty much, once you have both those fields out, you pretty much don't even need to use your priority and group heal. Sometimes it's good just go ahead and throw a good group heal out right after you use them. Just make sure everyone stays on top of their health, or just throw a bubble up. Good either way. Another way you can use Riptide when you're using this kind of loadout is definitely go ahead, pop Bubble, use Riptide to reset Bubble. Okay, because that's all Riptide does is reset the cooldown of whatever move you used before it, and then use Bubble again. Okay, so you're able to pretty much give your whole group, outside of a couple of people, the majority of the group, a shield. Okay, and then you will go ahead and use your Pheromone Bloom here whenever it's up and available, because you have your Eye of Gemini. Alright, Eye of Gemini will give you a Supercharge back, and since Pheromone Bloom's a low power cost, and presumably if you have the head socket to give you Pheromone Bloom back, I know that's not what it says in that one specifically, but if you have the Pheromone Bloom return, I think it's like 2.5% of your Supercharge back to you, then you can constantly keep Pheromone Bloom going as it just gets off cooldown, hit it again, and so on and so forth. For jack of all traits, I like to go ahead, Purple Healing Ray, Eye Gemini, Page of Destiny. As you kind of saw, for the Trinket setup, I like to run a tier 3 pet for some damage, Orbital for some damage. Depending on what you're trying to go for, I would say either a Sidekick or the Henchman, the backup. Backup for more damage, Sidekick for more if you don't have a tank, or if you just need more healing or a shield for yourself to come up on you, okay? Just to stay safe and stay on top of things. You want to be careful about using sidekicks though, especially depending on what content you are using and what tanks you have available to you and how good and comfortable they are with sidekicks. Just because sidekicks are known to do a lot of taunts, because they can be a substitute tank for you for a short duration, a temporary means, okay? So just make sure you're not interfering with what the tank is trying to do, because sometimes if the tank's trying to pull the boss or an ad to the left, your sidekick may be trying to pull it to the right, you know what I mean? And they can just be going all types of different ways. And then a good supply drop, which every healer should have on their bar, okay? I personally don't see the need to have a buff trinket like how the DPS have, just because of how comfortable I am healing. Now that can change depending on your level of comfort when it comes to healing, so definitely keep that in mind. I definitely recommend it if you are struggling, keeping your group up to full health at pretty much all times, no matter what. So that is that. Now that is a more jack of all trades. If you're trying to go more pure healing, a pure healing loadout when it comes to water will pretty much look like this. Alright, pretty much the exact same loadout, but instead of Supercharger, we use Tempest Guard. Now our bubble, which is another shield, our bubble is a good shield. It completely, prevents and blocks all incoming damage 100% for just ourselves and 3 other people, so an alert size of a group, right? But Tempest Guard does the entire raid. As long as you have, you know, however many people in your group, it's going to give them a shield. As long as they're in the group, they get a shield, okay? It's a pretty decent shield. It's pretty weak in terms of what Bubble can do and other like healer shields that are like Bubble. But it definitely pretty much allows it to filter through in a sense, because it only prevents some of the incoming damage. All right, it's pretty much like half. It's not the full 100% that Bubble can give you. So definitely keep that in mind. If you just need some kind of buffer block, similar to how the Page of Destiny it reduces whenever who has the shield, it reduces the amount of damage they take. Same principle applies to Tempest Guard, okay? And this will be more of like a pure healing kind of build. Now, if you don't like Tempest Guard, you can always throw in Blessings of the Deep, all right? And that can work out for you as well. So either way, that's pretty much what you're gonna want to run for a more pure healing build. Now, in terms of High Tide loadout, you of course need High Tide. So let's go ahead and throw it on there. And I would say have Blessings of the Deep on. Now you can have a Supercharge on this loadout or not, completely up to you. Because you basically have Blessings with a heal over time due to High Tide, and Souls of Sea being another heal over time. You would either take out Mending Wave or Soothing Mist. I recommend you take out Mending Wave, okay, if you want to run a Supercharge. All right, whether it be Metabolic Boost, will get you basically a little breakout trinket effect, lets you break out of control effects and gives you health over time. It's definitely very good for elite content. I would more take out Mending Wave just because Soothing Mist has definitely a shorter cooldown and you're able to use it a lot more. Mending Wave, your whole team can technically die within that 3-second cooldown, so you would definitely want to be careful with that, especially if all your other abilities are on cooldown as well. It's not something you can keep hitting if your team is getting attacked constantly, okay, and repeatedly. So you'll basically just drop that and just go ahead and add some Supercharge that can heal. Presumably, if you're going for more of a High Tide effect, you want to go ahead and put in your Tranquil Pool, just get the full effect of your High Tide, okay? But the choice is definitely on you. I'm just showing you all these different loadouts so you can go ahead, try out which one best suits you and what trying to play style you're trying to cater towards. Now, with these different play styles, I would say pretty much it will stay the same kind of weapon spec. I would still probably use Brawling with the Shuriken Storm Master right here. So you pretty much got a spec in the Brawling right here, and then come down to Martial Arts and spec, at least to Martial Arts Master here, and then go back to Brawling and go and put a point right there for that. That's the one that you want to do. It does the best AoE damage for weapon combos. All right, now that I just use it just in case I mess this one up for some reason, and I just like to use it occasionally. Okay, just change things up. But it does better like single target damage than the Shuriken Storm does. But let's say for some reason you want to go ahead and be like a pure healer and conserve your skill points because you don't have that much. I definitely recommend Rifle. Rifle taps are essential when it comes to, you know, might based DPS, and just sitting here doing a little tap, which would basically let you do a grenade. Let me show you with my might DPS. So you can do a grenade, and you can always, this is the same bubble here, you can just keep clipping it, clip, just tap triangle or your range button in between anything you're trying to do, and you get that effect. So it's good there. All right. And then for super speed, I like to go, you know, make sure you get your go faster version of your movement. And then me personally, I like to get a pull just in case, because being a healer, sometimes you will have to pull, depending on what kind of content, especially earlier content. It used to be a lot of controllers would do one thing, tanks would do one thing, and healers could help out and actually have a pull that would work well. So hey, Mesmerize and Lasso also does it too, which is an iconic power right here. Okay, but now it's better in today's day and age of content just to have it on the back burner. You don't really need it for most people, but if you got a lot of skill points like how I do, I go ahead and get it just in case. But for most content nowadays, pretty much your trolls and your tanks don't have more than enough pulls and be able to do everything without you having to basically pick up a finger on that note. Okay, but I like to go ahead, regardless of all that, I like to go ahead and get the Speed Force right here because I'm super speed. Whatever one makes you go faster, it's going to be right here. And get my recoveries, masteries, and resistances right here. Okay, I had to get that just because as a healer, if you're in a control effect, you pretty much can't heal unless something says usable while in a control effect. The only thing on this loadout that's usable in a control effect actually is the bubble shield. That's it. So that can save you, but if that's on cooldown, you're pretty much done. So I like to get the resistances and the recovery just in case. One, so I don't get stunned as much, and two, so I'm able to break out very quickly, and three, if I am low in power or the troll isn't in the group or the troll isn't putting out that much power, maybe it's a buff troll, whatever case may be, this, when I do break out, gives me some power back, and it'll generally be enough power to hit an ability of mine to, you know, heal myself, heal some teammates, whatever case may be. So, iconic powers, I would say the only one you generally want to get, if you're doing pure healing, none of them. If you're doing a jack of all traits, you want to go ahead and get Pheromone Bloom or Word of Power. I'll say jack of all traits for Word of Power only because it gives you power over time to yourself and your group members. So essentially being a controller, and I can show you how you can debuff in healer role the enemies, okay, which is another thing you can do, thus solidifying yourself as a jack of all traits. Okay, now if you're trying to do more damage, get super strength, it just helps your weapon out slightly, but it helps out nonetheless. Now when it comes to your stat points for the ones I've already discussed so far, when it comes to jack of all trait healing, pure healing, or high tide healing, you're pretty much definitely going to want to go ahead, get superpower focus, regardless of the fact you want your power generation up as high as you can get it. That is going to matter tremendously in content. The extra 10% of power is going to help tremendously in content. So you're not forced to always hit or do a weapon combo to get power back, and you're not waiting on the troll as much when it comes to your power. Because definitely if you don't have this additional power and power regeneration right here, you're going to be looking like you spam or you just go through power and you're very bad in managing your power. Okay, so you definitely want to be cautious of that. That can potentially get you kicked out of group. So go superpower focused. Then we're going to come in the middle right here, get our critical healing chance and critical healing magnitude. Go ahead and get that fully up, regardless of what you're trying to do for those three healing builds, styles, types, whatever you want to call it. For pure healers and for high tide healers, dump the rest in the restoration. If you have anything extra, get mind power only for the power really that you're going for. I would say definitely get one in your health and one in your dominance, just so you have the 400 health as you see here and the 80 dominance. Anything past that is kind of something you don't want to go ahead and get into because it's not worth you putting the skill points into it. Okay, but the one initial skill point is worth it. Okay, and even I like to go ahead and get some extra bite too, just so my weapon regenerates me a little bit more power. and precision, just so I'm able to do more damage, so I can regenerate a little bit more power. Okay, and then pretty much done the rest of the mind power. If for some reason, if you still got more skill points after you did restoration and mind power, just put the rest in health. Okay, make sure you can stay alive. Now, that's pretty much it for those 3 builds. Now, if you're trying to be a battle healer, a hybrid healer, whatever you want to call it, you can do this a couple of ways, right? I like to, when being a battle healer, either play it one of 2 ways. Either actually being like a healer in DPS, where you're only focusing on healing your teammates' health bars and doing damage. That's it, for the most part. Okay, so in doing that, pretty much the spec is going to be as you see here. We're going to have blast adapter, still going to use the brawling, or in general case, if you're not using brawling, use dual wield like I said before with the blast adapter. And this one I'm going to show you, this is more like I just said, healing and damage. Here we're going to be using our weapon a lot, so we're going to go ahead and use the critical pressurized. You could, depending on your supercharges, put a Neo Venom boost in here, or one of the other supercharges that you like using, like Pheromone Bloom. Okay, but critical pressurized for the 2% extra critical attack chance is going to be much appreciated, as you'll see. Okay, now for the neck, you can put the precision. Where is the neck? There it goes. You actually go ahead and put relentless precision right here, just because you're trying to focus on damage. And most times you're able to, at least myself and a lot of other healers I know, we're able to heal to such an effective degree that we don't need necessarily a lot of the tactical mods to still, you know, not to be as effective. We can be very effective without them. All right, in the back, I would just say keep berserk, or since you are still healing, go ahead and put in that bubble. Okay, like we talked about before. Now this is where the chest penetrating strikes, you're going to want to definitely get that. The extra 2% of ignoring their defense does more than 2% more damage that you're going to dish out to them. So that's going to be much appreciated. All right, now when it comes to max damage for the head, for the hands, excuse me y'all, it's late, I got a headache, and I'm very thirsty right now, so I can barely talk. Now for the hand socket, you can either get max damage, or as we saw, you can get max damage or mighty smashing, just for basically 5% for your weapon. Okay, so it's either way there. And then for feet, I would say still stick with Tumbling Master. Alright, our artifacts were pretty much going to be Transformation card, the Clarion, and the Strategist card. Now the Clarion is something, now a lot of these are interchangeable depending on what you have available to you, but in the general sense, those are 3 artifacts that you want to run when you're doing healing and damage. Okay, trying to be a battle healer. Now these are the stats that we're working with right here. You see my restoration is 87,716. Precision is 58,256. Okay, I don't have the highest gear as you saw, but I have decent gear. Now, in terms of my trinket setup, I like to go ahead and have a tier 3 pet, my supply drop, henchman, or my orbital. Normally I keep my orbital in there, but right now I have my henchman. A lot of times I forget the henchman, but I can remember the orbital. And then I go ahead and put a DPS buff stat trinket, okay? Just so I'm able to dish out that a little bit extra damage, so I am in a healer role and not in a damage role, okay? And then being in healer role, I lose out on the damage aspect for quite a bit. All right. Now for the allies, Generally speaking, when you're healing, just to make sure you're on top of everything, you definitely want to have your support ally be the Batman who laughs with the luck of the draw, okay? And then your other support ally be Cyborg with the all your base support ability, okay? Just to make sure you're topped off on all your power and your power generation. Now, a lot of people will say it's redundant to have both, especially Batman Who Laughs is so great. You don't really need Cyborg when you have the Batman Who Laughs power regeneration buff, but once again, you don't always have that buff, and sometimes when you need the buff, you don't have it. So just make sure you're on top of everything, have both. If you for some reason don't want Cyborg as your support ally, you want to have as a combat, or the case may be, you can definitely use a number of things. I would personally like to go ahead and use the Death Metal Batman. Use the Death Metal Batman second support ability, the Cloak of Ensure. I don't know how to say that. But use a second support ability right there, just so you get more precision, okay, and some damage mitigation so you can stay alive. And then for your combat one, I generally use the House of Legends bot for a single target, and Cyborg will be my AoE target for most cases. But since I don't have him available right now because he's my support, the Death Metal Batman hits very hard, and it's one of the hardest hitting one out there right now. If you don't have him, Flashpoint Batman is another hard hitting one and does some of the most damage. Or you can use Bombshell Harley Quinn. Bombshell Harley Quinn is excellent, the best one to use for if you have the most ads in front of you. Basically, it's the electric of the allies, okay? The more ads you have, the better it is to use Harley Quinn. The less ads you have, the better it is to use some of these other ones, especially like the House of Legends bot, if single target. Now, when it comes to my spec, like, once again, I use a weapon mastery, Shuriken Storm if you're using brawling, or go to dual wield and go down right here to flurry shot, okay? Now, as you're going to see, a lot of the spec is going to be the exact same for the battle healer as well, okay? But I'm definitely going to make sure I pick up Neo Venom Boost and Pheromone Bloom and Super Strength when it comes to iconic powers. For the Super Speed, you kind of saw the same there. And get our, our restraints and recovery. Now for stat points, this is where we change it up a little bit. I still go super power focused, but I'm going to max out both the critical healing chance and the critical attack chance, as well as the critical attack damage and the critical healing magnitude. Get all your crits, max those both out. Then I like to do a pretty even split between restoration and precision, and at least put 10. I like to put at least 10 into mind power, just so I can make sure I have that additional power there. All right, and have the ones and everything else to get the base stat increase that it gives you. But you pretty much want to go restoration and precision, pretty even split depending on how you have it, just because this is what kind of battle healer we're going for right now. All right, then our loadout is going to be Soothing Mist, Mending Wave, Bubble, okay, Pressurized, Speed Drain, Pheromone Bloom is one way to go about it, but you can definitely also, if you want to do a little bit more damage, you can put in that Neo Venom Boost and put one into Robot Sidekick to go ahead and put your Robot Sidekick there and your Neo Venom Boost right there, okay? It will do a whole lot more damage, and it's really crazy what it does, okay? So sometimes I like to put Riptide if I don't have the Robot Sidekick, just so I can put out enough bubbles, okay? Because that's 12 second cooldown for Riptide, but bubbles 18 seconds, and that's kind of long. All right. and you pretty much know how this is going to be. You're pretty much going to make sure your weapon is going to be up at all times. Your weapon buff, that is, the pressurized right there. And just heal whenever you need to in between. Alright. That's pretty much going to be it for this particular battle healer. Now there's another battle healer that you could be, and that is going to be a more supercharged focused battle healer. Okay, now when it comes to this battle healer, you're actually going to want to be more might based. So pretty much in terms of the spec, you're going to just want to do the rifle, just the one right there, to just have the weapon. Your super speed's pretty much going to stay the exact same. You can get Whirling Dervish depending on what you're trying to do. Okay. Your iconics, I would still recommend you get Robot Sidekick and Neo Venom Boost and Pheromone Bloom and Super Strength. Okay. And then for your stats, you're pretty much going to look the exact same. But in terms of this battle healer, instead of precision, we're actually going to dump everything into might and power and restoration. Do an even split that way and only put one into precision. Okay. Now everything else is going to stay the same besides our hands. Our hands are going to be max damage instead of the other weapon mods. Okay. And our neck is going to be the escalating might. Okay. It looks like I might need to go actually and get another mod for that. But I already told you. Our back is still going to be bubble and everything else is going to be the same. Now, in terms of our trinkets, the exact same. But our artifacts are where we're going to see a difference. Now, for our artifacts, we're going to want the Quizlet in there. We're also going to want our Eye of Gemini. Okay, and then if you're really just trying to spam as you can be, get the Scrapless Soul Cloak. This combo is absolutely insane. You can regularly go back and forth with this combo, hitting the 50 or 50% or the 5,000 supercharge costs, like how you do with the 2,500 supercharge costs. Okay, you can go back and forth with those three artifacts attached, and the head mod being one of the supercharges, preferably Neo Venom Boost, just because it does give you more. Okay. Now, there's two ways you can go about it. I recommend this in particular, just because your priority heal, your group heal, your one shield that's more 100% absorption, as well as your 50% absorption shield. Okay, and then two supercharges. That's pretty much going to be your EOG spam loadout. Okay. But it's also going to be your battle healing loadout right now. Alright. Especially when you have Neo Venom Boost active, I like to at times go ahead and take out Tempest Guard and either put Aquatic Arsenal, because it hits actually harder than Tsunami Strikes, in Ebb Flow. And it is pretty good if you actually read it and what it does. I like it. It looks very cool. Just look at that. That looks sick. I just like it a lot. And it actually does very good damage for being 100 power cost. It's quite insane. But that's pretty much going to be your other battle healer spec. pretty much going to be constantly spamming this aquatic arsenal the whole time, and then just utilizing your 3 healing abilities right here whenever they do come up. Okay, and that will be pretty much it in terms of your 2 other battle healing loadouts. Okay, I know this video's been kind of long, kind of been dragging, kind of all over the place, so thank y'all for bearing with me, okay, on this. Before I forget, I do see that I did forget about the EOG spam loadout and build, so please forgive me on that. Your loadout and build, I kind of said it in the video earlier from what I saw, but let me go ahead and do this. I use speed drain, but if you are having trouble with being in control effects, or not getting enough healing to yourself, then go ahead and put a metabolic boost right there. And that is pretty much going to be your loadout in terms of your Gemini, your supercharged spam. Okay, Soothing Mist, Mending Wave, Bubble, Tempest Guard, Pheromone Bloom, Metabolic Boost, or Speed Drain is what you're going to do. Your allies is pretty much say the exact same as they are right here. Batman Who Laughs, Cyborg as your support with the Luck of the Draw, and all your base as your abilities for support. And your combat ally either being the House of Legends bot for a more single target, or Death Metal Batman, Flashpoint Batman, or Bombshell Harley Quinn for more AoE. Okay. And then in terms of your trinkets, you're actually going to have Purple Healing Ray for the most point. Yeah, I was trying to look for Scrap of Soul Cloak. Sorry, y'all. But I had Gemini, Scrap of Soul Cloak, and Purple Healing Ray. Now you can definitely change out Scrap of Soul Cloak with the Quizlet if you're trying to just look for a little bit more damage. But just stay on the safe side and make sure your cooldowns and you're constantly spamming out the Gemini fields. Scrap of Soul Cloak, it is the better way to go for that. Okay, so that should be it. I'm gonna try to go over everything just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Bear with me. Drop a comment below if you haven't already. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Okay, definitely turn on that notification bell because I have a lot of content not only already on the channel but coming to the channel. Got some style contests with bases and character styles. Got monthly giveaways going on every single last month of this year. Okay, a lot of big ticket items. We have giveaway the Shaded Comic, the Cosmic Chroma material, Commander's Harpoon, Hook Hand. There's going to be a lot more to come to. I'm actually going to be giving away $1 billion in one of the months of the giveaway, so stay tuned in for that. And look, without further ado, share the video out, please. Please subscribe if you haven't. Please get other people that you share the video out to also subscribe, please. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I am trying hard to get there as fast and as soon as possible. I'm trying to get a little bit of monetization off of this platform, and 1,000 subscribers is one of the key components in doing that. And when I get to 1,000 subscribers, I will actually be giving away 10 memberships to this game here, DC Universe. I'll be giving you a little gift card code, and you can go ahead and spend that money on the gift card membership. Okay, for the membership for the game, I'm gonna give away 10 memberships. It's gonna be 1 month membership only, so you'll have that for at least a month. But that is going to be a special that I'm running now to help progress and reward us for getting to 1,000 subscribers. So I don't know what other motivation you need, especially with that good content and a good reward for the content. So look, without further ado, y'all, I ain't gonna take too much of y'all time. I already took a whole bunch with this video being extremely long. So I'll catch y'all next one. Peace and shalom.